Hi, I'm Ranger Erin, and today we are wondering, what is gravity? Think about it. Everywhere around the Earth being round, there are people walking, and they always walk with their feet on the ground and their head pointed up towards the sky. That's because even though the Earth is round all the way around, no matter where you are, gravity is pulling us in towards the very center of the Earth. So even if you're on opposite sides of the world, that gravity is going to pull you in towards the center. All objects that have mass, and mass is everything that you can touch, whether it be solid, liquid like this water, or the air around us, a gas, those are all have mass. And if you have mass, that means that you also have gravity. And the more mass you have, the more gravity you have. That means that since we have mass, we also have gravity, but it's not nearly as much gravity as the Earth, which is so much bigger than us. That means that you would have a different weight on other planets if they had a different mass. So we're kind of used to our gravity here on Earth, and we think that that's sort of what our weight means, but that weight can change based on the amount of gravity of what you're standing on. And since other planets and our moon have different masses, that means that you would have a different gravity on them and you would have a different weight. According to NASA, if you were 100 pounds here on Earth, but if you traveled over to the moon, where the moon is much smaller than the Earth, which means that the moon has less gravity than the Earth, you would only weigh 17 pounds if you went walking on the moon. If you weighed that same 100 pounds here on Earth, but instead of going to the moon, you went to Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in our solar system, you would weigh 253 pounds on Jupiter, because Jupiter is a lot bigger than our Earth. And if it's bigger than our Earth, it means that it has more gravity than our Earth. And again, you would weigh more if you were to walk around on Jupiter. We take for granted gravity because it's always been here and always will be, and absolutely everything on our Earth is adapted to living with a little bit of gravity. But life would not be possible without that gravity. First off, gravity is what holds our Earth together. If the Earth didn't have its own gravity, little pieces of it would start to break apart and then float off into space. So that gravity of the Earth is what holds the Earth together so that we can live here. The gravity of the sun keeps our Earth close enough to the sun to allow us to get that heat and that light from the sun. So if our sun didn't have its own gravity that keeps our Earth close enough to that sun, then again, we would only have the starlight to light our way, and we wouldn't be a very warm planet, which would mean that a lot of us wouldn't make it without that sunlight. Another really important thing is our atmosphere. So the gravity of the Earth is holding in all of our air over top of our planet. Again, without the gravity of the Earth, all of that air would float off into space. For your first activity, I'm going to ask you to put together some gravity experiments. So you're going to gather up a few different objects that you wouldn't mind breaking. So a rock, a stick, an acorn, maybe even some water. You're going to stand up on a chair or on a rock, so getting a little bit high up. And then with a stopwatch, you're going to time how long it takes for all of those things to fall to gravity all the way down to the Earth. See if some of them fall faster than the others. I'm not going to give you any clues about what's going to happen because I want you to do this experiment. But also, I want you to try and see if gravity affects you. So you're going to jump off that rock onto the ground. And after you have timed yourself jumping off one time, I want you to see if you can make yourself fall to the ground faster. Or can you make yourself fall to the ground even slower? So can you have a little bit of control over gravity? For some bonus activities, with the help of an adult, you can get onto the internet and search up some videos of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon, who was the first person to ever walk on the moon, and see how, on a place where you have less gravity, how it looks for him to be walking around. Or you can check out some of our great videos from the International Space Station. So they've done a few experiments about what it's like to live in really low gravity up orbiting around the Earth. When you're on your gravity hike, you're going to think about how gravity has affected all of the plants and animals that you see. All of those tall trees that are out in the forest, think about how they had to grow with really deep roots in order to grow so tall and be able to withstand that gravity. What about all of the flying animals that are out here? What do their bodies have to be shaped like in order to deal with gravity and staying up in the air and flying kind of against gravity? Lastly, out on your hike, you can pretend that you are hiking on the moon. So what would it feel like to be hiking on a place that has a lot less gravity? Or what would it feel like to be on a hike on a place that has a lot more gravity, like Jupiter? Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you all next time. Our Earth would start to fall apart